It's been unseasonably warm here in New England this week, but the hearts of Red Sox fans are ice cold, especially after waking up to the news that Xander Bogaerts has signed with the Padres.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Red Sox your first listen of every single day. I'm your host, NESN's Lauren Willand, and alongside me, Jake Ignaszewski, who's back from San Diego, brought the warm weather with him, but left Xander Bogarts behind. So if you want to know who to blame, we can blame Jake now. Just kidding. Obviously, we were very optimistic Wednesday. In Wednesday's episode, I said that I felt the best that I had about the Bogarts talks. And of course, naturally, as the night goes on, things fall apart. And as Red Sox fans have seen so many times before. So Xander Bogaerts has reportedly agreed to sign a massive 11-year deal worth $280 million with the San Diego Padres. And I thought the Padres would have been out of it just because they allegedly wanted him to switch positions. We know how Xander Bogaerts felt about that. They have Fernando Tatis at shortstop. And this broke just after midnight or just before midnight. So some people were sleeping, some people were wide awake waiting for this news. And it's not unsurprising that it unfolded this way because Red Sox fans have seen this so many times. And I certainly wouldn't dish out 11 years for a 30-year-old shortstop or a 30-year-old player, period. I don't care how good you are. I don't like those long-term contracts like that. But the biggest takeaway here is that it should have never came to this point. This should have been done in spring training last year. This should have been done prior to the 2022 season. And they disrespected him with that 4-year, $90 million offer, reportedly. And just coming from all the Boston Globe and the writers who had feet on the ground in San Diego, Pete Abe said that Xander Bogaerts wanted to be here. And I think there's no denying that. We know Xander Bogaerts wanted to be here and he wanted to give the Red Sox a last chance. And Pete Abe said there was what's described as a huge gap between the teams, and Bogaerts felt he had no choice but to choose the Padres. And Pete Abe added, which, just could dig the knife a little deeper, that various sources saying that there were 3 to 4 other teams willing to go the $200+ million on Bogaerts, and he wowed the teams in interviews, which I don't think really comes as a surprise. And the Red Sox did not finish second, third, or maybe even fourth in the running for Bogaerts. So it was just a really ugly time on Twitter. I think nothing brings Red Sox Twitter together than a homegrown talent leaving the organization. So Alex Spears said that the Red Sox had a 6-year offer worth roughly $162 million. And even though they showed willingness to improve it, the gap with the Padres was, what Spears said, too large to bridge. And like I said, it should have never come to this, but this goes to show, this speaks to me anyway, that says then Bogaerts was never your number one priority. If he was, maybe not the 11 years, but you could have done the 280. You could have made it competitive. And again, this goes back to competitive offers that I don't think they ever truly had one, especially if it's 6/162. It just not disappointed, not surprised, but this should have never happened, period.
And the one thing that, not only surprised that, this is happening to the Red Sox, but also not surprised that the Padres made the offer that they did. We saw they nearly got to $400 million with Judge, swung and a miss on that, swung and a miss on Trey Turner. And so, I felt AJ Preller wasn't leaving San Diego or leaving the winter meetings without getting one of those big ticket items, and he was really going to do whatever it took. And this is now a big question into what's the future of Fernando Tatis Jr. But that's for Locked On Padres to talk about. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Never should have come to this. And this is yet another homegrown talent who's out the door. Everybody can talk about the Mookie Betts stuff. I was somebody who felt like that trade was very necessary to reset the franchise, but it reminds me so much of a John Lester situation. You brought up the disrespectful offer in spring training. And, the one thing that the Red Sox knew, similar with Rafael Devers, is you knew the year that he was going to be a free agent. They could have made competitive offers 2 or 3 years ahead of him going into free agency. They knew that once he was able to test the market, that the price was going to go higher and higher. And especially once Trey Turner signed that deal with the Philadelphia Phillies, it was a foregone conclusion that the price had gone up. And one thing that I was told, speaking with multiple different people in the lobby, and one thing that really stuck out is I was speaking with MLB Network host Greg Amsinger, and I asked him, "What's your thoughts about Bogarts?" And what he said was he is the only player on the free agent market that isn't going to go back to his original team, and I'm confident in saying that. And the one thing that I thought of when I was told that is how credible of a source it's at. And I already knew if I put that out there, people would go nuts. And the one thing that after seeing the outcry of disappointment, which is very necessary, which is completely understandable. The joke that you made about me coming back, that was the first time I'd smiled really this morning. It's been a tough morning, but
That's what I'm here for. I'm here for the smiles.
but when you get up to $150 million to $200 million, everybody's going to make the play him on Chaim Bloom. He's the decision maker. He's the one who makes the offers. He's the one who does the negotiating. But when you're talking about that type of money, the people who write the paychecks, the people who are the ones that ultimately have the money and who own the franchise are the ones who give the general manager or the chief baseball operation officer, whatever you want to call it, the go-to to go up to $200 million, to go up to $250 million. And we'll never know sort of the behind the scenes conversations on, if they allowed him that sort of money, if they gave him a cap, really what the year cap was, what the money cap was, we'll never know. But I feel like the blame partly on Chaim Bloom, partly on the rest of the front office, but the ownership group, this is yet another time where they have not locked up a homegrown talent. And Chaim Bloom only been here for 4 years, but this ownership group has been here for much longer.
Yeah, it's another black eye for sure with Chaim Bloom, and I'm willing to give him the Mookie Betts trade because we knew that was happening whether he was here or not. We knew that was going to go down, and I mean, I know that you were really high on Chaim Bloom when you first started hosting Locked On Red Sox, and I don't think you're out on him, but I certainly think you've kind of come down a little bit. And this front office has this history. Not just you go beyond Lester too. It just goes to show that do they care about homegrown talent? Do they care about the fans? I think I know the answer to that question. But then you have Chaim Bloom trying to talk to Bogarts, and you have Bogarts who reportedly went to them to make them the best offer. That's when Chaim Bloom has to go to front office or make the executive decision himself. Like, yep, okay, 200 million, we got it. Like, let's match that. It goes. Oh my God. So when Chaim Bloom said, Sam Kennedy said that they weren't sure if they would have the opportunity to match an outside offer. He didn't want to comment on whether they would actually get the chance to match it. And you did. You had the player sit there and be like, I want to give you another chance because I want to play here. And then he feels like he can only go to the Padres because they're the only ones willing to commit to him. 11 years is a long time. Like I said, I don't like the years. I think the Padres are going to be stuck with that contract for obviously be stuck with it for at least 11 years. But you had the chance to match it. And that's when Chaim Bloom has to put his foot down. That's when front office has to realize what they have in front of them. I don't know if he was asking for 11 years from the Red Sox. Like I said, he's 30 years old. He'll be 41 at the end of that contract. But there had to have been something done. You had the chance to match it or at least give him something, make it worth his time. And they didn't. And it's just the same old song and dance year after year. And, you brought up Devers. What does this mean for Devers? I think they should trade him at this point. If you know you're going to do the same thing to him that you did to Devers, don't let him walk for nothing then. And I don't want to see Devers go. I don't want them to trade. But if you're going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, he's going to be our number one priority next year, hogwash. No one's going to believe you. Just get what you can for him at that point because you've already burned Red Sox fans so many times. And not just with this Bogarts move. I mean, I think this was a nail in a coffin for Chaim Bloom. I think the front office, that coffin's been nailed shut for a long time among fans. But we've talked about how this is such an important offseason for Chaim Bloom, and it started off really good. Red Sox fans were high on Wednesday, and there was positive. There was like, wow, they really do want to make this team better. Your team is not better without Xander Bogaerts. So what is next? What do you do? What is your plan B? Maybe you can go to BetOnline and see who the next Red Sox shortstop will be, if they'll sign Dansby Swanson, if they'll sign Carlos Correa. But betonline.net is your number one source for all your betting sports info, news, stats, analysis. You can get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball. At least the Celtics are doing good in the NBA, and so are the Bruins, just continuing to run through the NHL and soccer, esports. We've got everything at BetOnline. And if you love sports podcasts, assuming you do, because you're listening to Locked On Red Sox, you can find those at BetOnline as well. Really just a one-stop shop at BetOnline. They're always the fastest and the easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to the website today. Use your mobile device to learn more. That's BetOnline, where the game starts. So what's next for the Boston Red Sox at shortstop? Yes, Swanson's still on the market. Correa is still on the market. I do not think they go after either one of them. I think it'll be the same interest in talks. We're close, but didn't get anything done. I don't know. I mean, that deal for Bogarts, and you still what Trey Turner got, that I don't know if Correa and Swanson will get 11 years by any means, but this is really setting the market for them, and I don't think the Red Sox have a chance at either one of them. Yes, you can move Story to short, move Kike to second, but then your outfield is worse than it was. I don't know, Yoshida, who the Red Sox signed, I don't know how good of an outfielder he is. The stats there don't peg him as a really good outfielder, but a better hitter. Maybe he could be the DH. But then what? Marcelo Meyer's not anywhere close to MLB ready. I don't even know if there's like, what is next? What do the Red Sox do? The Red Sox, they've told us they have plan B. They have two in-house options, but you promised Kike Hernandez, you've promised your fans that your team would be better in 2023. Right now, on December 8th, it is not better.
I think the first step after what has happened, you got to extend Devers tomorrow. Like, not even today. It should have already happened. And the one thing is, you need to start giving optimism. It's great with the Jansen, it's great with Yoshi. Like, that's amazing. But you need to start giving optimism towards leadership in the clubhouse. The captain is gone, even though he did not have the C on his chest. Who is the leader of this team? Even though Rafael Devers, he's essentially the longest tenured here outside of Chris Sale as well. But you can't expect guys like Alex Verdugo, Trevor Story, who just was here last year for his first season, to step up as leaders. So you need to figure out first who's going to lead the clubhouse for the future.
Yeah.
Next, what are you going to do with Rafael Devers? You brought up the trade. I think you with him, 25 years old, go 11, 12, what he wants. Like, it's not even really talking about past decade. We're not talking about a 30-year-old player. He's somebody, if you want him to stay in the organization, you saw what happened with Bogey. You saw what happened with Lester. It continues to happen again and again. You need to give fans some sort of optimism to why they should not only tune in next season, why they should even give money to the Red Sox to go to Fenway Park. Why should they believe in this team for 2023? And really, with Swanson and Correa, no way for Correa. If you're not going to pay Bogey, no way you're paying Correa. Swanson, in my opinion, is the only player that might seem logical. You might be able to get him for the 150, $160 million figure. Who knows? Great defensive shortstop, somebody who's very good offensively, very down-to-earth person, great leader in the clubhouse in Atlanta. He's the person that I would say it would be the best fit to slot right in there. Obviously, is not going to be a puzzle piece that fits absolutely perfectly. Nobody's going to be that with Xander Bogaerts out. But you really got to figure out. You thought that you had the second base situation figured out with Trevor Story, but now that's out the window. Kike Hernandez is your center fielder. I'm not hearing the utility player. I'm not hearing the second baseman. If injuries happen, I get it. Put Kike at second base, but he is your center fielder. And Story, if you want to move him over to shortstop, figure out the stuff at second base through the trade market. We'll see. But, this is the real thing. You've been preparing. You've had the plan B, obviously. Fans, the front office, nobody anticipated that this day would officially come, but it's here. So now you really need to show Red Sox fans and Red Sox Nation why this team is going to be better. You say that you're going to put a winning baseball team out there. Show us.
That's the thing. Like, we've preached that actions speak louder than words, and actions were had Wednesday. And like I said, the Red Sox fans, they were feeling optimistic. You had me feeling optimistic. Everyone was feeling good about where this team was headed until Bogaerts decided to go to the Padres. And good for Bogaerts. Absolutely. Like, I get your bag. Get that money. You have security now. That's a lot of years for someone his age. And again, like, yes, 100%. You keep Kike in center field. I know that second base has been his position. I know that's why you initially signed him, but he's just thrived out there. He makes your outfield so much better, and taking him out makes that team worse. And we've talked about this, where if you remove Bogaerts from this situation, your team, you're filling voids with pieces that you don't have to back up and fill other places. Yes, you could put Christian Arroyo at second base, but you need someone established. And obviously, I would love Correa here, but no way the Red Sox go after him. Swanson, he helped Atlanta in 2021 to the World Series. He had an all-star season last year. I just don't know if the fit is good. I don't know if the Red Sox also, they're not going to pay him. They're not. You dish out, what, $95 million to Yoshida, to someone who may or may not work out in MLB, and you commit 5 years to him, but you won't commit to Bogarts. Like, we're going to break down the Yoshida thing in another episode of Locked On Red Sox, but overall, the numbers look good for him. But that's another topic for another day. It's just this whole Bogarts thing just blew up very, very fast, because I feel like and I said this in the first segment, that I felt the Padres were out of it because they wanted him to switch. And if Bogarts does switch positions, I don't think he will. I think that's the Padres' problem to figure out with Tatis. But then it's going to go back to, well, what if the Red Sox were able to move him to third then? Put Devers at DH, and then put Story at short, or go sign like a lower end shortstop, or, there's better options here. And I do think 100% that the Red Sox had everything in their favor until they wouldn't budge. And I just will never understand why they won't commit to homegrown talent, to talent that the fans love, to talent that puts fans in seats. No, Fenway Park is still going to sell out next year. I don't have any doubt about that. Fans will always go to games, and that's fine. I'm going to go to Fenway next year. Of course I'm going to go, but it's going to be hard, because right now, you said it, how are they going to make this team competitive in 2023? You had the Yankees go all in on Aaron Judge. You gave him 9 years, and the Red Sox can't do that. They were like, well, we need this guy in our lineup, because if he leaves, we have our own postseason issues. And yes, he struggles in the postseason, but he helps us get to the postseason. And the Yankees saw that. They beat out every team. The Padres were one of them, the Giants, and he wanted to be in New York. Bogarts wanted to be here. So you do what you have to do to keep him here. And I will never understand what goes on in the heads of executives who make that decision to be like, well, we're not budging. This is your offer, take it or leave it. Then he's going to leave it. And you can't sit there and be like, oh, well, he left? I can't believe it. I'm shocked. And then Chaim Bloom, the Boston Globe caught up with him in the airport, of all places, shortly after the deal went down with the Padres. And Chaim Bloom, he said that he expects fans to be hurt, and he also expects that we're going to put this together and deliver them winning baseball. Okay. No one is going to believe that. No one is going to take anyone's word from that front office anymore until they actually prove it, because there's just a lot of negative energy around this team right now, and rightfully so. They deserve all this hate that they're getting, because year after year after year, there is somebody that the Red Sox fans fall in love with, a homegrown talent. We keep saying homegrown talent, but when it happens all the time, and we said, hopefully the Red Sox learn from Mookie Betts. They won't. And now we're saying, well, hopefully the Red Sox learn from Bogarts to not do what they did to Bogarts to do to Devers. They probably won't. Well, hopefully they learn from Lester. They didn't. They're never going to learn. It's the same thing. And it's not that they don't want to learn. I think they're content with these decisions because they'll sit there, they'll say, we made our best offer. We're happy for him that he chose elsewhere. But being $100 million apart, that is a huge gap. And the Red Sox, this is not a small payroll team. This is a team with a payroll. Yes, you've gone over the luxury tax so many times in your franchise and you're throughout the history of your franchise, but you do it for Xander Bogaerts. You do it for your fans that help fill Fenway Park year after year. But I am not feeling confident going into 2023. Yes, I'm happy that they've upgraded the bullpen. Hallelujah. There are good relievers in that bullpen. I'm happy that they signed an outfielder, but I don't know how he's going to work out. Maybe, like I said, he'll just be the DH. I'm happy that they've made the moves that they have. But this move, the one move that they said was their priority this season, their top priority, their main number one target, then no, he wasn't. He never was your number one priority. If you weren't willing, you had the opportunity to match the offer and you didn't. So no, he was not your number one priority. I'll never, ever believe that. If they want to come out and keep saying that, you're lying.
And you bring up showing fans why you're going to put a winning baseball team out there. I think one person that you gotta show this to is Rafael Devers. You just allowed his best friend to walk, and you saw what he put out on Twitter. Very, very upset. Thanking him for everything that he's taught him and everything like that. But this definitely puts not only a sour taste in Red Sox fans' mouths, everybody on the roster, but his best friend, the one who helped him be comfortable playing in Major League Baseball, the one who taught him how to play Boston Red Sox baseball. And now he's not going to be on the left side of the infield with him anymore. And you need to make him confident why he should stay with the organization. He is one singular year away from the exact same thing, walking right out the door. One of the top
and going
10,
to the Padres.
Hopefully not. One of the top 10 baseball players in the league, maybe even higher, and is only getting better at this point. But you need to show him why he should stay. And the one thing that I'm curious to see, I would laugh so hard if Fernando Tatis Jr. comes to the Red Sox. If the Padres were like, we'll take $100 million if you want him, Red Sox Twitter would go nuts. But the one thing that I did think about as well, even though it doesn't help anybody whatsoever feel better in the moment, this isn't the last time possibly that you see Xander Bogaerts in a Red Sox uniform. There's a possibility that the
don't
Padres,
give them hope. Don't give them that hope.
but there's a possibility that they did it with Eric Hosmer. They've done it with multiple teams. Once they get to the 38, 39, 40, 41 age, they got to unload him at some point. You know what I mean? I'm that's just one thing that I thought about. They did it with Hosmer. We've seen teams do it over and over again, not giving hope whatsoever. Obviously, we can't predict what's going to happen in 11 years or so. But there's one thing that, most fans didn't expect is, when he walked off that field, tipped his cap, gave his hug to Rafael Devers, that was going to be the last time.
I always admire you always thinking, every single possibility out there. And yes, I mean,
Try to
yes,
stay positive.
never say never, of course. I don't think that's going to happen. I also think Bogarts, I don't know if he even want to come back here anymore at this point. If it was the 6 years, 162, and if I don't know what the final offer was, if they did show what Spears said, the willingness to improve it. I mean, what was that, 180? We don't know. I'm sure we'll get reports of numbers that come out over the next few days. But yeah, I mean, they absolutely have to go to Devers. I don't think Bogarts leaving necessarily will make Devers want to leave, but I do think that it will, put the light bulb on his head and be like, listen, I've seen what you've done with Bogarts. I've seen what you did with Mookie, and I know what the history has been here. And if you get it done now, get it done before spring training. If you're truly committed to building a team, now you have to build your team around Devers. That's not a bad person to build around, but you should be building around Bogarts and Devers. But if the Red Sox know in their minds that they either don't want to retain Devers, or they don't want to overpay him, quote unquote, overpay him, if they know going into next offseason that there will not be a Rafael Devers on the Red Sox in 2024, then you need to trade him. If you even have that thought in your head that he's not going to be here, he's not in our long-term plan, then trade him because the city of Boston, it probably wants to be burned to the ground right now. But if you let the same thing happen to Devers a year later that happened to Bogarts, oh my God, I don't know what will happen, but it will not be fun. It will not be happy.
Yeah.
And there's still so many questions. I think there's more questions now. Like, yes, bullpen help. Yay. I'm pumped. I love that they got bullpen help, but you still have so many holes to fill. Shortstop now is one of them. You still need starting pitching. You still need outfield help. You wouldn't have needed shortstop help if you just opened up a checkbook, but Bogarts' departure now just leaves so many more questions. And I don't know. I think Red Sox fans are going to be very angry for a very, very long time, as they should be.
Right. And, that's sort of, the last thing that I wanted to say on the subject was, I know a lot of people throughout, these next few months prior to spring training, every single day we're going to see on Twitter, when's Devers getting extended? When are we paying so-and-so? Like, when are we upgrading the team? One thing that I know is tough for a lot of people, and it's tough for myself as well. I want to see this team succeed. I want to see this team build a winning roster for 2023, as anybody does who's listening to this podcast. But this word, it's tough to hear right now, and it's tough to believe, and it's tough to grasp. But patience. There's 2 more months of this offseason. That's a lot of time that they have to fill in these holes. And so I understand. I even said it. Extend Devers yesterday, tomorrow, in 2 minutes. But who knows if that's going to be the possibility? Who knows if that's going to happen? Who knows if he's open to even talking in the next few weeks, in the next month or so? It's really his call. He has the leverage right now. And so don't be surprised if you don't see a Devers extension until February or right before spring training. Don't be surprised about it. And also keep that optimism. We're fans at the end of the day. We love this team with all of our heart. We want to see this team win. We want to see this team succeed. And if we continue to just tear down sort of every tiny little thing, I get it. Everybody's frustrated. Everybody's angry at this moment in time. But all we can do is have patience and optimism that they're going to build a winning roster for 2023. There's a lot of time. There's a lot of time for them to grab a shortstop, a second baseman, an outfielder, more relief help, more starting pitching. Just have patience, have optimism, and just believe. As much as I said that last year, and as much as it did not work with the team coming in last place, that's all we can do as a fan base is just believe that this team is going to be better in 2023 and that they're going to win and that they're going to build a World Series contender. That's all we can do at the end of the day.
Forever a positive force on this Locked On Red Sox podcast, always trying to manifest that positive energy into the fans. And
I try.
I know it's not easy.
It's not easy.
And especially for someone like me, I don't have patience. And I'm usually a very positive person. I always try to see the bright side of things, but I'm not feeling good right now. But like you said, there is still time. And with time comes patience. And patience is running very, very thin with Chaim Bloom, with the Red Sox. And with this ownership group, I think patience has been way, way out for a while on them. But it's December. We still have 8 weeks until February, until catchers and pitchers start reporting to Fort Myers. So as Jake said, and I'll try, remain patient, remain optimistic. I can't promise I will, but I will try.
We usually do the mental health minute. And I did want to say, throughout these next few days, as much as you want to get on Twitter, as much as you want to get on the sports news and see what's going on, put your phone away, get outside, spend time with your family, distract yourself. It's just going to affect your mental health even more. It's just going to make you even more frustrated. You can't control what happens in the outside world. And so whether we're talking about sports, whether we're talking about life, this is a tough time right now as a Red Sox fan, and it's really easy to just grasp for your phone, go to Twitter, interact with people, get angry, and get even more stressed and build even more anxiety in your mind. But take a rest, do some self-care. Just wanted to make that note because I'm going to be doing the same as that thing. I want to go on Twitter right after we get off this, but just need to put it away and just enjoy where I'm at. So
and don't fight with trolls. Just it's not worth your energy. And if you don't want to reply to a tweet, don't. You don't
Yeah.
have to. Like,
Yep.
you don't waste the negative energy on negative people, because we're all feeling pretty negative right now. And there's ways to have healthy discussions about this without tearing each other down. So, like Jake said, is stay off Twitter as much as you can. Hopefully, there's going to be some good Red Sox news soon. But like Jake said, remain patient, remain optimistic. Thank you for making Locked On Red Sox your first listen of every single day. Please rate, review, and subscribe to Locked On Red Sox right here on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast is where you can find us. And you can find us on Twitter. If you want to yell at us about Xander Bogaerts, you can find us at LO_Red Sox, Jake at Jake Iggy, me, Lauren, 3 laws, Lauren with 4 R's. If you need a break from the Red Sox talk, I tweet a lot about the Bruins. So we can talk about the Bruins and how well they're doing. And in their 2 months into the season, they look really, really good. Don't forget to check out all the other shows across the Locked On Network. Locked On Padres, Javi, happy for you that you've got Bogarts. But make sure you check out all the work he's doing. Locked On Yankees. Stacy had a great live show about Aaron Judge. Locked On MLB, Locked On Sports Today. Everyone is doing such a great job here, bringing you baseball content Monday through Friday, through the good, the bad, the ugly. And now that you've made Locked On Red Sox your first listen, check out Locked On Sports Today for listen number 2. You go beyond the scoreboard, behind the scenes with local experts and insights that only Locked On can provide. It's available on Odyssey, Apple, YouTube, just like Locked On Red Sox. Available wherever you get your podcast. We will be back throughout this offseason, Monday through Friday, bringing you the best and worst of the Red Sox. But even though it doesn't feel right, we're still going to end it how we always do. Let's go Red Sox.